pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oops, sorry.
Okay. Okay, can we have a
Yes,
roll call?
here we go. Are we ready? Fran?
Jan, you mean?
I just thought
I'm
Fran.
here,
Jan?
I'm here.
Sure, Frank, can you last?
It doesn't matter. Here.
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 And Laura?
Kay. And Kay.
Kay, and Jason.
Jason absent with
Graduation.
Yeah.
Go to.
Okay, any changes anybody wants to request on the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda stands approved. Any changes on the April 28th minutes? Again, seeing none, stands approved. Call to the audience. Kathleen? Okay. On to the audit. Yeah, we should vote.
Easier to see the screen.
Okay, Alyssa, if you want to go ahead, if you're referencing any pages, let me know. I have the draft audit up on the screen for the board.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Alyssa Horner, and I'm an audit manager at Bainbridge and Company. And I'll be going over a brief overview of the audit, and then I'll answer any of your questions at the end of my little presentation. And I will say the PDF page numbers, just because that'll be easier if you're showing it electronically. The page numbers that are actually listed on the pages are slightly different because the first two pages don't have the page numbers. But anyways, just so you know, since you'll be showing the audit report. If you start with page 3, there is the independent auditor's report. And the important thing to take out from this page is that we issued an unmodified opinion. And this is the highest opinion. It means we found no major issues and there were no findings. So that's all good. And if you continue on to page 6, there is the management's discussion and analysis. And up at the top of this page, there are the financial highlights. Some of the main ones are the total net position was about $4.3 million, which was an increase of about $240,000 from the prior year. And we'll get some of the changes for that in a minute. But another thing to note was that the general fund balance was about $1.5 million, which was an increase of about $220,000. And both the net position and the fund balance are at a good level, and they don't appear to be too big or too small. And if we continue to page 8, you can see the net position comparing the years 25 to 24. And some of the major changes here is that cash increased by about $240,000, which closely follows the increase in net positions. That's what we would expect. And the tax receivable and deferred inflows also increased by about $50,000 due to the taxes expected to be received increasing. And that's just from the taxable value increasing. And if we go to the next page, you can see the library's changes in net position comparing the years 25 to 24. And just like I noted for the taxes receivable and deferred inflows, property tax revenues also increased by about $81,000. This is also related to the increase in taxable value. And total expenses increased by about $100,000, which was primarily from staffing costs and repairs and maintenance increasing compared to 2024. And the next page, there's a chart of where all of the revenues came from. So you can see a significant portion came from property taxes. And the blurb underneath it explains that the largest expenses for the library were the salaries and wages, which was about 54% of the total expenses. And there were no budget variances, so that's good. Sometimes I have to cover that in audit reports, but there were no variances for you guys, so that's a good thing. And then for the subsequent events, we did disclose that the library has a capital project that it's expecting for 2026, but that doesn't really affect the 25 audit. We just disclosed it since it's a big project. That covers a summary of the audit that I was going to go over. Continuing through the report, you can see the financial statements in detail and some of the other information on some of the balances and the notes to the financial statements. But if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them.
Anybody got anything? Everything looks good? No other changes we need?
I guess I have one that came up. You stated our fund balance was neither too small nor too big. What are the parameters that guide where that should be?
We usually look at the net position and the fund balance compared to the total expenses. And there's a certain percentage, I don't know it off the top of my head, but we do have it in a spreadsheet. So we do compare with the fund balances compared to the total expenses and just make sure that the percentage is good.
Okay.
I did have a question. Since we started using GASB 87 and 101, and we haven't used it before, why do the beginning balances start out at 0 when we actually had balances on both leases and the compensated absences as of last year?
Can you repeat that for me, Kathleen?
Oh, that was Cheryl. I'm not sure I can, let me adjust
All
my
right.
mic here.
Talking about starting to use GASB 87 and 101.
Yes.
And when you go to the notes and you look at the beginning balances, while we started it this year, we actually had the same activity last year. We could have used it last year. I'm not quite sure why you didn't, but you didn't, and then decided this year to use it. But then in the notes, you start out with a 0 balance. Why is that? Because we had these leases as of last year, so there should have been balances coming forward.
It might have been that, I can look up a more for sure answer, but going off the top of my head, it could be that to have a beginning balance there, we would need a prior period adjustment, and that would show up differently. So if it was an immaterial amount, we would just flow the difference through the current year.
I mean, you couldn't just note that in the notes, that this could have been done last year or something, but we chose not to, and now we're doing it. I mean, it just, based on knowing that these leases have already been in place, it didn't make sense to me. And that we obviously had salary, and we should have been doing compensated absences too.
For the lease, I'm not positive, but for the compensated absences, the rules did change for GASB 101. So it could have been the liability calculation for 24 would have been a lot lower, and that's why we didn't report it last year. But for the lease, I'm not entirely sure. I would have to look into that more.
But even though it changed, we still would have had compensated absences last year, correct? If we had chosen to do it. I mean, we had payroll, so I assumed we would have.
It would just depend on the amount because the compensated absence is related to the PTO. So if people didn't have a leave bank, that was, if the calculation for the leave wasn't great enough, then it would have been classified as being immaterial and we would have reported it. but because of GASB 101, some of the rules changed. So that might be why it was more material this year, and that's why it was recorded. Whereas the beginning balance is 0 because it was immaterial in the prior year.
Well, that's what I don't understand, because it's the same lease, so how could it be immaterial in one year and not in the next?
Because the rules for calculating the amount changed, so there's more things included for 25 than there was in 24. That's part of what the GASB 101 did, was it changed how we calculate it now.
There was an update in 2025 on 101,
Yes,
and what did that cover?
it was for the compensated absences.
No, I understand that, but I mean, what was changed in it? Because our PTO policy didn't change.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part?
I said our PTO policy did not change, so what changed in
The standards for calculating the leave. So it's not so much that your policy changed, it's how we would calculate it. So there's different things that need to be included. So if there's, I don't know your policy off the top of my head, but depending on how much PTO is earned by the end of the year and how much sick time there is, depending on how much you expected to be used would need to be included in the calculation for 25. Whereas in 24, it would all be based on if it was paid out at retirement.
well, it would just be interesting to know what calculation would have been last year to see what was material and what wasn't. Maybe you and I can get together to talk about that.
Okay,
That would be good. Okay, I'm done.
and who is that speaking, just so I can make a note to get back with you?
This is Cheryl. I'm president of the board.
Okay,
Okay. Right, we all good? And
Thank
let
you.
Alyssa go?
so that there were no other questions?
Nope, it does not seem like it.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely you. Hi, Alyssa, thank you.
Bye.
We didn't even get to see your face, Kathleen.
I know, I told her she didn't have to because I was gonna put the bonnet up there.
We'll go
I have the numbers.
dress report.
Up there.
So you didn't have,
Well, we have to vote. Focus has to be.
oh, oh, there will be a roll call. Okay,
So
it's money. Okay.
did we actually vote on it, or?
Oh, we can vote on it.
Okay, all right.
I'll still talk to her.
Okay.
Okay, so
We'll just go in order. Sure.
okay, we need a motion to approve the audit for 2025.
Can I do it?
Sure.
Okay. I would support the motion that we approve the audit for 2025.
I'll second it.
And we'll need a roll call vote.
Okay. So, now do I move myself when we do this or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Call our names.
Oh, okay. Should I write by your name instead? Okay. Let's see. John?
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl?
Yes.
And Jason's not here, right?
Right.
Jan?
Yes.
And Taylor? I said yes. Let me see, right?
Keely.
Keely Jones, I'm sorry, Keely.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
now what do I do?
and the motion passes.
The motion passes. Go.
Okay, on to director's report.
You have a written report, just a couple of things to highlight. The Brandon Township Public Library is now a Family Search affiliate library, and what that means is that Family Search is a big genealogy database. And it is free to use in general, but they do have deeper functions
Thank you.
that can go.
Oh, I was just gonna go do that.
With us being approved affiliate library, we had to do a few things. Mike had to do a few things with the computers to get us in there. But now patrons can use our computers in the library to open millions more documents than they would be able to get at home. Mostly images, which are census, not census records, but deep genealogy stuff from other countries, and actually we can see some documents that they would.
Are they printable?
So it's a big deal, yeah.
And is this, like, do we pay a subscription or something?
No, it's free. They only approve a certain number of libraries in each area, and so we were chosen. So we applied, Jesse brought it to me, he had heard about it, and brought it to me, and I applied, and then we were approved. Yeah, we've had a couple patrons use it already.
Good.
A couple of big things to note. I mentioned at the bottom there, I met with the staff of the Citizen newspaper. Keep an eye out for our regular articles. I just got this at 4:25. So this is the first draft of the first article that's going to go in. We actually have an ad at the bottom that will go in as well that thanks our community for their support over the 100 years. But I'm sorry it's so small, but it kind of gives you an idea of what these articles are going to look like in the paper.
What is the bar graph for?
That's the years that this article covers,
Oh,
and then that
okay.
will move up with
Huh.
each
Cool.
article. And then one more thing to point out, Kathleen did a great job of fights with the board. Thank you to those who attended. And I hope that continues because it seems, patrons seem to like it, or staff seem to like it, and the board seems to like it.
Definitely. A great time.
Okay, questions for Laura?
I have a couple.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a discussion about the patron behavior policy. How much problem has that been?
It was a problem for a while with one particular patron. And so now it's not.
Okay.
But, those things are kind of cyclical. It seems like it always will come back around, so it's best to nip those things in the bud when they happen. But, it's not generally a problem.
Okay. On the M15 garage sale, how much did we earn on the spaces that we sold? Do you remember?
It's usually like $1,200 every year.
Okay.
It's $35 for the regular spots and $50 for the bigger spots. But I think it comes out to about $1,200.
Should be in here. Income statement
Wow.
under fundraising.
Oh,
But it wouldn't be separate, or would it? Huh?
That's the
Okay.
only thing we run under fundraising.
Okay. I guess we'll get to that.
it says $925, but that was April. So we may have sold a couple more after that. Yeah.
Because you sold some the day of too, didn't you?
Resold.
That's what I mean.
Oh, because people didn't show.
People didn't show up.
And the
They already paid.
Oh, wow.
People didn't show up. They had paid for their spots. We called them. They said, no, we're not coming. It's too cold. So we sold again.
On the Centennial Club, I just wondered, I'm sure you remember, is there a goal to go higher or is?
Just as many as we can sell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. For the Centennial Club.
It's not been finalized, like,
Mm-hmm.
thanks, we have an additional 3,000.
Oh,
But I'm just
so
hoping
far.
that- So far, we
So
could,
far, yeah.
I just wondered.
Then my last question is the quote for the circulation list.
You don't know.
Don't want to know yet?
was it 62?
I think it's like 65, so yeah.
Yeah, $60-some thousand. And that's for a remodel, not a replacement. But there's some electrical that has to get moved and
Wall down.
wall, that's quite a project. And to make the desk multi-level so that it's more comfortable for ADA, not only for patrons but also for staff that may have trouble.
And then we'll get other quotes.
We'll have to, yes. And we're also looking for grants.
Okay.
Since it is an ADA project, we may be able to find some grant money for that.
Good. That's all I have.
Okay, Jen, did you have anything? Kay, did you have anything further? All right, and I do not have any. Moving on to trustee reports. Haley, anything?
Yes, I attended the, it was, United for Libraries, Stronger Together, webinar. And it wasn't like a full presentation, but it was more just kind of like a conversation. And I thought it was really great. They talked about how they had formed an advocacy committee where they actually had members of, Friends of the Library. This particular one had like a foundation as well as their library board members and city council members. And so they would all kind of get together and discuss ways to kind of tackle advocacy for the library from all the different points of view, which I thought was really interesting. And one of their campaigns was very cute. It was called I Love My Library. They did it for Valentine's Day, where they actually put like the little Valentine's Day boxes at different locations within the community. So like at restaurants and like hair salons and anywhere else where you could just like drop a little note about why you loved your library. And then they took, they like did like photocopies of them and turned them into little like keychain trinkets. So they were little like reasons why they loved the library, which I just thought was really cute.
Okay, John?
Well, I spent the day here during the M15 garage sale. It was very successful. I was glad we were inside, but that bad weather drove a lot of people inside the building, so we had almost $800 in revenue from book sale. Pretty good. We ran out of grocery bags at one point and had to scramble to get more, so that's the kind of volume we had coming through here. I also attended Bites with the Board, which was very good, very interesting. Conversations went all over the place, which was wonderful. Completely off the topics that were first asked, but that was okay. It just flowed. So it was very good. I hope they continue them. We continue to mix up. So, which board members are with which staff, so we can get a chance to have that opportunity with all of the staff. So. And then, as some of you probably know, I will not be at the next month's board meeting, so this is my official notice that I will not be here next month. I will also not be here for the Finance Committee meeting, so if Cheryl or Jan would be willing to host that for me in my absence, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, Jan?
Nothing new right now.
Kay?
Along with John, I attended that. It was Thursday the 14th. Thank you, Kathleen, the Bites with the Board. It was, like you said, it was all over the place in a way. It was very interesting. We had some questions that were done in advance that we pulled and people would answer and then we kind of took off. But yeah, interesting. I'd like to go to that again. That was the Policy Committee. Monday the 19th was the Policy Committee. Met with them. And then finally, I sold my 20 ticket. I was very excited about that. where you get more, is it can sell more?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Margaret's here, so if you
Oh,
want
is
to
she here? Okay.
get her before she leaves, I'm sure she can get
Okay.
you some more.
Okay, thank you.
Those are the raffle tickets for the,
Right, the raffle tickets. So they found out family members and.
Did you buy them all yourself?
No, I sold my daughter. I did buy 10 of this.
Oh,
Well,
good.
Jay bought 5 and I bought 5,
Oh,
but no, I had a
okay.
couple other, they're all relatives of mine. But
Oh,
when I found out that,
stay in the
you know,
family.
it was okay, they had relatives.
sure, anybody. Anybody
Okay.
with $5.
Okay, and that's it for me.
Okay, I helped out at the book sale.
Thank you.
That was fun. It was really just steady. It wasn't really too overwhelming, but just continuous. So that was good, and you guys did well on what you did for the day. And this month was my turn to go to FOL. There wasn't a lot of reporting because we had sort of reported already on a lot of the book sale and all that. Their current bank balance is just under 17,000. Again, the quote raffle is available, so we need to keep encouraging people to purchase tickets for that. They've given over $6,700 to the library so far this year, and it's only June, so thank you to FOL. And they recently purchased an ice maker for the staff kitchen, so I'm sure the staff is happy about that. Okay, and that's all I have. Any questions for anybody? Okay, John, on to the finance reports.
All right, we'll start with the check register. So the finance committee, by the way, did not meet this month. We had nothing on the agenda, and we got all the questions that were answered about the audit ahead of time, so canceled the meeting. So, I do have some questions on this that hopefully Kathleen can answer. One being all of the MERS, it appears that we covered several payroll periods this month.
Yes, March was a blackout period because they switched from Alaris Financial Group for their investments and switched to Empower. So we were still collecting from staff and everything like that, but we just had to hang on to that money and everything. So once I got access and got training for it on how to do it all, I had to backtrack and do several payrolls at once.
Got
So
it.
we could get that money invested for us.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions on the check register? Okay. And we will move to the balance sheet. There's no change in the tax receivable. Total checking and savings was down the appropriate amount given our expenses. Other than that, the MERS payroll deductions liability went down. I noticed that, so that makes sense.
That shouldn't be there. It was one of those, on April 30th, we moved money, but on May 1st was when it was supposed to be taken out, so.
So that'll
that
go to
will
zero?
away.
Okay.
Until it happens again, it'll go away.
Anyone have other questions on the balance sheet? Okay.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
I assume you guys have not done the adjustments to the fixed assets. You will now with the audit approved, okay. Thank you.
Okay. On to the income statements. I probably should know this. What was the other grant revenue we received in April?
Is it, how much was it?
2,000.
Oh, that's the Molina Healthcare Grant, that's for additional senior programming.
I look at it, our expenses as a percent of the budget are in line with where they should be, which is approximately 33%, with exceptions that are known. No questions? Did we get a motion to approve the expenses?
I move to approve the April 2026 expenses of $95,030.70.
Have a second.
Would you now,
Yep, we need a roll call.
okay. Call myself. I approve.
Yes.
Cheryl? Oh, you're last.
I'm last.
John?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, motion is approved. On to committee reports. Policies.
So the material selection and collection development policy is back once again. We moved some things around, trying to make it flow a little bit better. We added some things together so the lists weren't quite so long, which I think helped it to make a little better sense. We made sure all the tenses were lined up and accurate. I think it flows better, I think it reads better, I think I like the categories better. Up to you.
Okay, does anybody have any
Well,
changes, questions, concerns?
just bottom of page 47, you have to realign those the letters,
You mean redo them?
redo them,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Up to M, A to M.
I had one question. I just noticed that the total collection will attempt to represent opposing points of view was stricken. Is that because it's in the principles of collection development? Was it like repetitive?
Yes.
Is that, okay.
Mhm.
And then, that the,
Can you tell us what page you're looking at?
oh yes, page 47.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just right, the principles of material selection, just that last sentence before the list was crossed out. I just wanted to clarify. And then, under the principles of material selection on letter B, that, the nonfiction materials, maintain a high level of accuracy and are considered factual, and then the free of bias was removed. Was that intentional, or?
It was, because, we were talking about, Cheryl came in and we were talking about fiction. Well, no, we were talking about bias, there are books that are biased. So we thought it was a better fit to put it in as not as an individual material item, but more as, the collection as a whole. So we don't want the collection as a whole to have bias, but when we purchase an individual item, it may very well have bias. It may be a political bias that they write a certain way, or this level or this side. So, individual materials will have bias. They just will. But, the collection as a whole, we strive to make sure that it's not biased.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I was just, and I think probably it's just a me thing, like getting hung up on like definitions of words. I was just, when it was coming to nonfiction, I was wondering if it was like perspective versus bias, and if maybe it was just like me getting hung up on a word.
Some of it is literally biased. I mean,
Okay.
it just is. There's a lot of writers out there with different opinions, and they are allowed to have those opinions,
Sure.
as biased as they are.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say biased is probably the right word.
History is very biased. also.
Yeah, and I can,
Yeah.
I can for sure understand that, like
Yeah.
with historical works, like obviously having bias of, certain eras, and that being important to cover,
Right.
of course.
And I think it's really important, I've always, you know, when I have ever taught anything about collection development, I always tell people, you know, you're gonna have your own biases as a human being. And you have to really make sure that when you're doing collection development, that it's very easy to buy a lot of things that you wanna read. And so I used to say, if you buy something that you're like gung ho, I love cats, you have to buy a dog book.
Right.
You have to keep that balance, so, we just wanna make sure the collection as a whole is not biased.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
It did.
Okay. So it is in B on page 46, promotes the dissemination of a wide range of ideas and information representing a variety of viewpoints. So it doesn't necessarily say bias, but it's the same,
Okay.
same concept.
Yeah.
Nope, that's it.
I have a couple. On page 47G, should writer and character be plural?
Oh, in the top G. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's on the bottom.
Sorry.
There's 2 Gs.
Top G. Because the book could have more than one author and obviously going to have more than one character.
Yeah.
And put the S in parentheses.
And then the only other, on page 48, under item 2 under artificial intelligence, we have accuracy and bias. And I think, you know, we had a big discussion about that wording elsewhere, and I'm wondering if we should reword these similarly.
Where are you? I don't see
Down
where
at
you're
the
at.
bottom.
48.
Number 2.
Well,
B2.
Oh, I thought you said Q, and I'm like, I don't see a Q on this page.
because
Okay.
before, it was on 47, or letter C, D at the bottom. We were saying it was accurate, and we were saying it was factual. Here, we're just saying there's a heightened review for quality, accuracy, and bias.
Okay.
We're not saying it is accurate. AI is tricky. But we will be a little more diligent on checking stuff on those. But, I mean, I think the problem before was we were saying this is accurate.
Right.
We're not saying that here. I don't think.
Well, we're reviewing it, doing a heightened review for accuracy.
That doesn't mean it is though. I mean, we can only review, we don't know.
So what's the point of reviewing it for accuracy if we're not using that in our
It just means
judgment?
that we're looking at it a little bit harder than we would normal materials.
Okay. All right, I'm good with that. I just wanted to make sure we were being consistent. I think those were my only two. Yep.
Okay, anybody else have questions, comments, changes?
I actually did see I had one more, and I think it was the, on page 49, where we talked about, the library materials under maintenance of collection. They would not be cataloged or sequestered, from injury, and I think I don't know if we're supposed to change that to damage.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the personification of material.
Yeah, you're right, I missed that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
So where is that?
on page 49, under the maintenance of the collection, it says in the red, further library materials would not be marked or identified to show approval or disapproval of contents, and no catalog or other item will be sequestered except for the express structure protecting it from injury or theft.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
So it should be from damage.
Damage, yeah.
Okay.
Forgot that one.
Okay, anything else? was a mess. Laura and I talked about it, policy committee talked about it, and I think you guys did a good job putting it back together. Because you had a mess to deal with.
Yeah.
It really lays out well now.
Good job.
Okay, and I will entertain a motion to approve, what's the name of this again? Material selection / collection development policy.
I move that we approve the materials selection, collection, development policy.
As amended, are you adding that?
Sure, as amended.
I will second.
Okay. So do I call roll?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Amen.
This doesn't involve money.
You can
Okay.
take that off your desk, huh?
I will say this policy committee is pretty great, and a lot of good input.
No, it really was kind of a mess, and it really laid out much better this way. Okay, finance committee.
As I mentioned, we did not meet this month.
Okay. Ad hoc 100th anniversary.
We didn't meet, would you like, I do have an update, for our centennial extravaganza, our family fun day. Right out of the gate, we just started, registration last Monday, we already have 87 registered. So if you wanna register, hurry up.
We have to register to come and scoop ice cream.
No.
I registered.
Well, yeah, you guys will register.
Yeah, I
That's all
registered.
And that was one of the perks of the Centennial Club, was that I would actually register you for that personally. So we've had, I probably registered about 12 people. Centennial Club, we are up to 30 members. We have roadside banners for M15 celebrating our 100th, and those will go up on June 12th. So those will be out at the road pretty soon.
At our driveway, right? Where?
On M15.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I'm meeting with 15th Street Tavern next week to go over a possible menu for our October event. They seem to be
They're
the
great
front
stuff.
runner.
Okay, any questions for Laura? Okay, and we are on to communication, none, correct? Unfinished business. The draft community survey questions to precede our strategic plan. Okay, do you want to discuss what was changed, or?
Well, we changed, I know there was some concern about not asking what you like, what don't you like. So, what are some things you love about this library, addresses what do you like about the library. And then, in number 3, it asks, what would you like to see the library focus on, improve, or implement over the next 3 years? So we thought that kind of covers the what don't you like, and what are we not doing. We also added, Cheryl thought it was a good idea, and I agree, to ask if they are library users, or if they are Brandon Township residents. That does have some weight, in those answers. And I think that's all that has changed. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. Otherwise people will not fill it out.
Looks good.
It seemed like the word should, but that's just me on number 2. So, what should be? I thought, just asking, I am happy to see the library, but that's okay. I just avoid shoulds. But that's okay.
Any other questions, comments, changes? And then I will entertain a motion to approve the survey questions.
I support the motion to approve the survey questions.
Second it.
Okay, Jan? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion is approved. Okay, reports. Okay. Start with Keely, any comments on the staff reports?
Nothing terribly, just, again, like, it's so extensive all the time, it's incredible. I didn't get to participate in, like, some of these, programs, so I'm glad that they did well. And, looking forward to everything that's coming up. There are a lot of really great programs coming up in the next sort of quarter. Like, what are we calling it, semester, quarter?
Okay. John?
I did notice of Anya's mention of a program on Jedi training. It went over very well. They wanted to do it again. I just hope that they include adults, because I would love to do that.
Yeah, speaking of that, they released number 12 Star Wars film this week.
Maybe we can add that for our board training, John. You're on that committee, aren't you?
And they actually,
I
they
am,
released
well,
it.
as Jan heads up that committee, the board
Okay.
training committee.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can
we're
get
gonna
Jedi
learn how to
training.
use
Yeah.
swords and Jedi ones.
It's
Okay.
stage, it's like,
You can
it's
lead that.
performance, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay, in January, make sure you add that to our survey. Out there.
The only other comment I have, a couple of places mentioned the preparing the goodie bags for the summer reading program. We did have 5 FOL members volunteer and came in and did hundreds of them. And I think they're coming back to do the rest or more, so thanks to the FOL for that.
Okay. Jan?
I can't believe with the 100th anniversary, we still have the most busy summer going forward. That just is amazing. And I was concerned last month at the length of these that I didn't want them to feel burdened. And they're longer this time than ever, so I guess they don't feel burdened, but they're wonderful reports. If anybody talks to Sarah, tell her I can I can share some of my perennials if she really needs them. I just really enjoyed reading all of this, so nothing in particular, but I loved it all.
I started circling stuff too. I couldn't, Fran, 31 programs for nearly 800 kids.
Yeah.
I circled that stuff and went, wow. I love the stuffed animal pet project. I know that she's worked for 51 years.
Mhm.
Wow. I forgot to say something to her when I thought, but, and I wasn't invited?
Yes, you
Everyone
were.
was.
Yes, you were.
Hey, let it pass, no, just kidding. And then I like the Lego Club, only because of my grandkids. I don't know who the original inventor of Lego was, but
Yeah, really.
that organization must be rich.
You found a pin for 51 years? Unbelievable.
You can get anything on the internet.
I guess you can. Oh, that's great.
That was it. Just congratulations to everybody.
I had a few things. I am very impressed, of course, with all of this, but a few things that I highlighted here. I'm so happy to see what Anya's doing with our teams. I mean, we have 14 attendees at the Jedi training, we had 16 at the tie-dye ward. She's added 3 new members that came for the tab meetings. It's impressive what she's able to do. So I'm glad to see that, and I'm glad that they have started talking to the high school and middle school to be doing some programs over there too, so that's good.
It's just as hard to get teens into programming as it is to find someone who wants to do teen programming. So to have her want to do those programs is
Yeah, I mean, teens have so many things going, so many choices, and
but there's not a lot of staff that like to work with teens either, so
Well,
We're
she's
very
obviously
lucky.
doing a great job.
Yeah, we're very lucky because she loves it.
That's great.
And all the attendance at all of the brand stuff is crazy. And again, the after-school programming, that they are actually now talking to somebody that has actually responded to them, so that's great. So, no, it's all good. I loved it, and congratulations to the staff, and thank you, because I know they're understaffed right now, and they're still putting everything in. You know, the other night I came in and Taylor was presenting our presenter, and then had to go out and help outside while the program was going on, so she didn't even get to stay to hear the program. But no, it's all good. So tell them thank you from all of us. Okay, stats, anything you want to highlight?
I wanted to point out our door count for the month of April was 3,800, and I'm sure you saw in my board update, we had 1,200 people come in on garage sale day.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little perspective, like, that's a third of what we get in a month, came in one day.
So I can't wait to see what next month's
I
door count
know.
looks like.
Probably gonna be like 5,000 something. But, that was pretty much all that really jumped out at me. A reminder, the Blackstone down at the bottom, we will be, that will be going away at the end of this month. Our renewal would have started June first, and we just don't have the numbers to support, signing up for that again. So Blackstone will be ending the end of May.
We tried.
We tried.
I was speeding through my audiobook.
Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? I just had a question in the, kind of right in the middle, where it's talking about attendance and sessions and all that. I was trying to figure out what all ages attendance, what that number is.
Well, we have, if you look at our brochure, there is, there's sections. So there's the early babies, early readers, and then there's teens, and then adults, and then there's all ages programs. So it's for anybody that wants to come. It's
Well, I
not
was just wondering, because April of last year, we had 398, and then April of this year, we only had 57. So did we just not have hardly any of the all ages programs that month? Or?
Or maybe we, last spring, maybe we had one great big one. I can't remember. Grand's 50th. Yeah. That's
Oh,
what it
all
was.
right, okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's it.
And that's why the door count was over 4,000.
Yeah,
That one too.
yeah.
That answered my question.
How does the door count work with several people walking at the same time? Does it account for that, or just
I
how
think
many
it
times the
does.
door opens?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Really?
Yeah, because it can even tell me, I can break it down into hour by hour, how many people came in and how many people went out. So it knows the difference even between coming and going.
It's a camera, right?
No,
No? Oh.
I don't know.
Some kind of laser, probably.
Yeah,
So we're all getting zapped. Okay.
All right, and on to our calendar review. In June, we will have a strategic plan update, and we will have our first budget meeting in the finance committee. We won't be bringing anything to board yet, but that will be our first meeting.
And John's not here.
And John won't be here, so yes.
Yeah, okay.
I planned that well.
Yeah.
Okay, public comment. Kathleen?
Cheryl.
Okay. Thank you for attending, taking care of our audit and all that.
I thought we could see her.
No, I told her we didn't need to because it's easier to look at that than.
Yeah.
Okay, we have nothing on hold. I didn't know any anything specific that we didn't complete that's for next agenda? Anyone else have anything that they want to put on for next agenda? Okay. And we will adjourn